Leaked details about Mercedes' 2026 power unit have thrown the Formula One paddock into chaos, with Ferrari, Audi, and Honda formally pressing the FIA to intervene, claiming the Silver Arrows may be exploiting a technical loophole. The controversy revolves around Mercedes' thermal expansion trick, which allows the engine to pass a 16:1 compression test in the garage but reach nearly 18:1 under race conditions. This could provide 15-20 extra horsepower, giving Mercedes a massive competitive edge and potentially 0.3 of a second per lap. The leaked specifications suggest Mercedes engineers used exotic alloys with precise thermal coefficients to manipulate the combustion chamber volume at operating temperature, creating a legal but hidden advantage. Rivals fear this could upend the competitive balance if unchecked. Later in the video, we'll break down the leaked engine data, the FIA's tricky political position, and why this single innovation could make Mercedes the 2026 season favorites even before the first race. The Formula One paddock has been thrown into turmoil following leaked details of Mercedes' 2026 power unit, which rival teams claim may exploit a technical loophole. Ferrari, Audi, and Honda have formally approached the FIA, demanding urgent clarification and potential sanctions. According to insiders, the leaked data suggests that while the engine passes static tests showing a 16:1 compression ratio, dynamic conditions on track may push the effective ratio up to 18:1, creating a hidden performance advantage. The paddock is buzzing with speculation as teams try to comprehend the implications of this revelation, aware that even a minor unregulated edge could decide races before the season begins. At the heart of the controversy is Mercedes' thermal expansion design. The power unit reportedly uses advanced alloys and precision engineering to alter combustion chamber volume under operating temperature, a subtle mechanism nearly impossible to detect during conventional inspections. Rivals are concerned that this gray area advantage could give Mercedes an extra 15-20 horsepower on track. Such a margin, while seemingly modest, translates to 0.3 of a second per lap, enough to influence qualifying and race strategies, forcing competitors into urgent pre-season adjustments. The FIA's handling of the protests has amplified tension throughout the paddock. While acknowledging receipt of the complaints, no definitive ruling has been issued. Historically, the FIA's deliberate approach to complex technical disputes can favor teams operating at the edge of compliance, as rivals hesitate to pursue aggressive innovations without regulatory certainty. This ambiguity has created strategic pressure on every team, compelling engineers, strategists, and management to make decisions under a cloud of uncertainty, where misjudging the legality of development could have costly consequences. Mercedes has maintained a calm public stance, emphasizing that the engine complies fully with 2026 regulations. However, insiders suggest that the leaked specifications reveal subtle operational nuances, including refined cooling systems and energy recovery optimizations, which maximize performance while staying technically legal. Rival teams are tasked with analyzing these details to determine whether they can develop countermeasures without risking non-compliance, turning pre-season testing into a high-stakes balancing act between innovation and caution. The leaked information has triggered a cascade of strategic reassessments. Teams are reviewing engine maps, cooling strategies, and fuel deployment plans to anticipate the potential advantage Mercedes might hold. Even small miscalculations could result in lap time losses across different circuits. The leak has effectively introduced an invisible variable into every team's pre-season operations, creating uncertainty that influences engineering choices, driver confidence, and overall team strategy simultaneously. Beyond technical implications, the controversy highlights a regulatory challenge for the FIA. Teams and analysts question whether existing testing procedures adequately capture the dynamic thermal behavior of modern power units. The leaked data underscores the difficulty of enforcing compliance in an era of highly sophisticated engineering. Rivals must navigate this uncertainty while preparing their cars, ensuring both competitive performance and adherence to regulations, which increases the complexity and pressure of pre-season operations. Finally, the broader consequences extend well beyond Mercedes and immediate competitors. The FIA's eventual ruling could set a precedent affecting engine design, testing procedures, and competitive balance across the grid. Teams are acutely aware that any decision or indecision may influence 2026 championship outcomes, development priorities, and long-term strategies. The leaked data has transformed what would normally be a technical briefing into a high-stakes scenario involving strategy, psychology, and regulatory interpretation, ensuring the preseason will be defined by tension and anticipation. He leaked specifications of Mercedes' 2026 power unit immediately caused concern among rival teams, revealing a subtle technical edge that may have been previously concealed. According to insider sources, the thermal expansion mechanism allows the engine to operate at a higher effective compression ratio on track than what is measured during static FIA inspections. While Mercedes asserts full regulatory compliance, the revelation has forced teams like Ferrari, Red Bull, and Audi to analyze the implications for both performance and strategy. Even a modest increase in horsepower estimated at 1520 brake horsepower could result in lap time gains of up to 0.3 of a second, a margin substantial enough to influence qualifying, race strategy, and championship calculations. Central to the controversy is the thermal expansion loophole. By employing exotic alloys and precise thermal design, Mercedes may achieve dynamic component expansion that enhances combustion efficiency under race conditions. This effect is difficult to detect in conventional static inspections, which measure compliance in controlled environments. Rival engineers are now challenged to estimate the extent and consistency of the advantage, attempting to prepare countermeasures without risking rule violations. The complexity of the innovation has forced teams into a defensive posture, preparing for scenarios that may or may not materialize during the season. The leaked data also highlights subtle optimizations in cooling and energy recovery systems that complement the thermal expansion trick. These refinements could allow Mercedes to sustain peak power and efficiency over longer stints, improving both qualifying performance and race pace. Teams are reviewing simulation models and pre-season testing strategies, recalibrating parameters to anticipate Mercedes' potential on-track dominance. This technical ripple effect demonstrates how a single design innovation can influence the preparation and decision-making processes of every rival team. The FIA's delayed response has intensified the tension. Formal protests have been acknowledged, but no rulings or clarifications have been issued, leaving rival teams to operate in a state of uncertainty. Historically, such delays can favor teams operating near regulatory limits, as competitors hesitate to take risks without a definitive ruling. This ambiguity pressures engineers and strategists to adopt cautious approaches, even when aggressive innovation might be necessary to remain competitive. Every decision from engine mapping to cooling strategies is now influenced by the unresolved legal and regulatory context. Psychological pressure has become a critical factor. Drivers must contend with the knowledge that Mercedes may hold an unquantified performance advantage, which can influence qualifying aggression, race tactics, and risk assessment during overtaking maneuvers. The perception of hidden superiority introduces mental tension across the grid, adding a new dimension to pre-season preparations. Teams are no longer evaluating only mechanical performance, they are also navigating strategic uncertainty and human factors that may subtly shift outcomes in Mercedes' favor. The strategic consequences extend beyond technical adjustments. Teams are reconsidering pre-season testing programs, budget allocation, and development priorities in response to the leaked data. The uncertainty surrounding Mercedes' power unit forces rival teams to balance defensive engineering measures with innovation, knowing that any misstep could result in a competitive deficit before the season even begins. This dynamic underscores how a single leak can reshape the entire paddock's approach to preparation, influencing both technical and operational decisions. Finally, the broader implications involve governance and long-term competitive balance. The FIA's eventual ruling will not only affect Mercedes' 2026 campaign but may also set a precedent for future engine designs, compliance interpretations, and regulatory enforcement. Teams are acutely aware that the outcome of this dispute could redefine performance expectations and strategic approaches for years to come. The leaked Mercedes engine data has therefore evolved from a technical curiosity into a catalyst for tension, recalibration, and strategic maneuvering that could shape the 2026 championship before the first race even begins. The key twist emerging from the leaked Mercedes 2026 engine data is that it may not be just a technical curiosity but a strategic game-changer capable of reshaping the entire 2026 season. Rival teams are forced to operate under the assumption that Mercedes holds a hidden performance edge, altering how they approach pre-season testing, car setup, and strategy planning. Engineers and strategists are now evaluating scenarios in which every decision, tire allocation, energy recovery settings, and fuel management could be compromised by an unseen advantage, creating a pre-season environment charged with tension, uncertainty, and psychological pressure. The thermal expansion mechanism itself introduces a profound strategic dilemma. While Mercedes' engine meets regulatory requirements in static tests, on-track performance may yield an additional 15-20 horsepower. This potential edge forces competitors to simulate worst-case scenarios, adjust pre-season preparations, and calibrate energy deployment in anticipation. The uncertainty regarding the consistency of this advantage amplifies the psychological stress on rival teams, making preseason decision-making as much about anticipating regulatory rulings and hidden variables as about pure engineering optimization. The FIA's delayed response further compounds the drama. Formal protests have been filed, yet no definitive ruling has been communicated, leaving rival teams in a liminal state where caution and competitiveness are in constant tension. Historically, such ambiguity can favor the team operating at the edge of compliance, as competitors hesitate to make bold technical moves without regulatory certainty. This uncertainty adds an extra layer of strategy, forcing rival teams to hedge against multiple outcomes while still attempting to match Mercedes' potential track performance. From a tactical perspective, the leak has redefined preseason priorities. Teams are reassessing engine maps, cooling strategies, and energy recovery calibrations to prepare for an engine whose full potential is unclear. Even minor miscalculations could lead to significant deficits on circuits where engine performance is critical. This ripple effect illustrates how a single technical revelation can influence the operations and development focus of every team, extending far beyond Mercedes and affecting the competitive balance of the grid as a whole. The psychological impact on drivers is equally critical. Awareness of a possible hidden advantage can influence qualifying aggression, race tactics, and overtaking decisions. Drivers may hesitate in key moments, subconsciously adjusting their performance to account for an unseen competitor edge. This subtle mental pressure, layered atop technical challenges, ensures that the leaked engine data influences both human and machine performance, underscoring that Formula One success depends on a combination of engineering excellence and psychological resilience. The leak also shines a light on the FIA's regulatory challenges. Any decision on the legality of Mercedes' power unit will set a precedent, influencing not only the 2026 season but future regulations and team strategies. Teams must consider potential rule interpretations and enforcement actions while continuing development, creating a high-stakes environment where each technical choice is scrutinized under both competitive and regulatory lenses. The interplay of strategy, governance, and innovation makes this scenario far more complex than a typical preseason technical review. Finally, the broader significance of this twist is that the 2026 championship may be shaped as much by strategic foresight and regulatory interpretation as by raw performance. Mercedes' potential advantage, coupled with FIA ambiguity, forces all teams into a heightened state of alert, where every simulation, design choice, and test session carries amplified weight. The leak has transformed the preseason into a tense chess game, setting the stage for a season where uncertainty, intelligence, and psychological strategy may be as decisive as horsepower on the track.